So I hope you can see the introduction on arrays in JavaScript.
Yes.
Okay. So I hope this will be an amazing session for all of us. So let us learn about arrays and objects in JavaScript. So what is an array? Arrays are objects, or we call them special type of variables that can store multiple values at once. The multiple items are under one name. So I want to give an instance whereby anybody to tell us what is a variable before I continue. Anyone can unmute and tell us what is a variable.
Can I give it a shot?
Yeah, sure.
You can say that a variable is a unique identifier that are used to store values.
Yeah, exactly. So a unique identifier that we use to store values. Sometimes you find some people saying a container in which you can use to store values. So, but with a variable, you can store just a single thing or a number of things. But now when it comes, no, something as single, yeah. But now when it comes to arrays, I want to give an instance of, let me show my method. Let us declare a variable fruit. Give me a fruit apple, right? So maybe I want to store a number of fruits like apple, mango, banana, or something. So for 3 fruits, that's possible. Like I can look through them. Like when I declare them differently, for example, I declare let's say fruit 2 be banana, of which I know I've just, I know there's an error there, but don't worry. So I'm using this as an example. When I want to look through this one, I have to like name each and every one of them. But now with arrays, we can use them to store multiple. For example, if I want to store maybe 30 types of fruits in one variable. So arrays will allow us to store multiple values at once. Yeah. So let me give an example of how do we create arrays now. There are 2 ways in which you can create arrays. One is using array literal. For example, there's this code block, const fruits, banana, apple, and orange. So with array literals, we use the square brackets. Then inside the square brackets, this is where we can store like our array elements. For example, here we have an array called fruits, and then inside it, we've now stored the array elements, which are banana, apple, and fruits. Okay, so let me just continue, then we'll go to the practical part of it. And then the next way in which we can create a variable or arrays is using the new keyword. With the new keyword, you have your const to declare the variable that is the single variable that we use to store the arrays, the special type of variable that we use to store now the elements that you want to store. So const fruits, then new array, then inside it we have the elements that we want to store. That is the fruits here, which we have the banana, apple, and the orange. Let us go to how do we access the elements of an array. You can access the elements of an array using indexes. Indexes. That is, indexes is like, how do I'll just show you in the practical part of it. It's difficult explaining it here. So we access the elements of an array. For example, when you want to access banana, how do we access banana? Like how can we access apple, orange, like differently? So we access them using indices. That is, each and every one of them as an index. For example, indexing starts from 0 continuously. So banana is allocated index 0, apple 1, orange 2. So let us do a practical part of that first. So I'm going to delete this. Let us create a I'm creating an array called fruits, and then inside it, I'm using literals. So I'm going to use the square brackets. So let's give it the elements, maybe apple. Let's give orange. And then let's give banana. So this is the first way of creating an array. So let me just like comment. So this is the first way of creating an array using array literals. And then um, how do we access the elements of an array? We can console.log. Then for us to access all the elements of the array, you just like use the name of the array, console.log fruits. So let us check what will happen. When I run, you can all see, I don't know if you can see my, let me just enlarge it somehow. So when you output, we all can see the array elements here, the apple, the orange, and the banana. So that is when you want to access all the elements of the array. So you use the name of the array that you've used. But now when you want to access a specific element of the array, you use indexing. For example, when you want to access only the first element of the array, which is now allocated the index 0. So we are going to console then index 0. So I hope you all can see what happens. When I consoled log fruits, then give it an index of 0, the output is apple, because apple is the one which is allocated the index, the first index, which is 0. But now let us try index. Somebody can confirm to me what is the expected answer when I run this code. Anyone?
Banana.
The trial. Banana.
Yeah, banana. Because apple is index 0, then orange 1, then banana is 2. So when you run this one, the expected output is banana. So let us see. Exactly. Okay. So let us continue with. So we have discussed how we can declare an array, and then how we can access the elements of an array, that is using indexing. And then let us move on to, you have to note that array indexing starts from 0 and not 1. So I hope that is clear. Okay, so before I start array methods, anyone to confirm to me that all that is clear? How you create an array and how you can access the array elements. and if I'm too fast. Okay, so we can move on to array methods. I assume like everyone is understanding and we are all together.
Jerimo,
So yes, yes,
did
I can hear you, please. Somebody was talking, kindly.
and maybe in the chat somebody is saying, okay, what about when we want to find an
Sorry, those are
item maybe at the end of the array?
when you want to.
Okay, I think somebody, I think this is Calvin, I think is asking, what about we start from the other end of the array? So I think that's accessing maybe elements at the end of the array.
Okay, so where do we start counting, right?
Yeah, I think that's the question. Yeah, exactly.
I can't clearly get you, but I don't know if you're answering or you're asking, but I can see somebody who has typed on the chat. So where do we start counting? Okay, we start counting from like the person talking. I can like type your question on the chat, then I'll just go through after we finish. But I'll answer some of them like where do we start counting? I want to give an example of this, sorry. I'm just going to use indexing starts from 0, not 1. So we start from the beginning when you like from where your array elements, the first array element in that array. For example, here we have banana, apple, and orange. So indexing starts from banana, the first element of that array. Yeah, as you continue. So banana will be like allocated 0, then 1, then 2. So we count, how do we count? We count from the first element of that array. Elements of an array, I'm referring to those, this, whenever, the banana, the apple, and the orange, which you've now assigned to that array which is the fruits. So we start counting from 0 and not 1. So that is banana 0, then apple 1, then orange 2, as you continue if you had more elements. So I guess I've answered that on how we start counting. If you have any question, please like just type it on the chat. I'll go through them. I'll make sure and then end. So let us continue to array methods. Array methods make it easier to perform useful operations with arrays. Some of the commonly used JavaScript array methods are, so as you all can see here, array methods, we are told they make it easier to perform useful operations with array, because somebody will ask me, so what will happen if I want to maybe add another fruit to this array? Like maybe I want to add, give me a fruit, banana, apple, orange, give me a fruit, pineapple. So what what if I want to like add an element to the array, an element that doesn't exist? So I want to add a new element to an array. So how will I do it? What if I want to maybe delete an element from the array? Yeah. So that is what we call array methods. Array methods. These are they help us to perform operations with the array, maybe to add an element, to remove an element, and more, maybe to connect to like arrays. Yeah. So let us look at the commonly used JavaScript array methods. There are so many, but I'm going to look at the commonly used array methods, and then I'll refer you to I'll give you a link whereby you can study more, because we really have a lot of array methods. So the first one we're going to see is push. I know most of us have heard about push. So push method is used to add an element at the end of an array. For example, we have our array which is called fruits, and then we have the elements, which is banana, apple, and then orange. So what happens if you want to add another array element, another fruit, which is mango? So we are going to use the push method. So how do we do that? So you take the name of the array, which is fruits, then dot push, which is the method. Then inside the brackets, you now put in the element that you want to add. So fruits dot push, then inside it, you now write your mango, which is the fruit element that you want to add to the array. So when you output, what do you expect? You expect mango to be added at the end of the array. So as you can see here, we expect mango to be added after banana, apple, and orange. So let us try that one. The key thing to remember here is push is used to add, as you can see I've highlighted, is just used to add an element, but where? To the end of the array. So let us try that one first. So I'm going to, let me just comment these ones. So I want us to add mango to this array. So what I'm going to do is we take the name of the array, which is fruits, which is fruits, then dot push. Then inside push, we now add the fruit that we want to add to the array, that is mango. And then let us console the log fruits now to see if mango is added at the end of the array. So I hope all of us can see this. We now have like 4 elements. We have 4 elements of the array. We have the apple, the orange, the banana, and the mango, and it has been added at the end of the array. So the key thing about push that you have to remember, it's used to add an element to an array, but where? At the end of the array. So I hope that is clear. So we move on to the next method. So after push, we have pop. They always go hand in hand. We have push and pop. So the next one is pop. Pop is used to remove the last element from an array. So while push is used to add an element at the end of an array, pop, on the other hand, is used to remove the last element of an array. So I'm just going to use the example of fruits. I hope somebody had a fruit today in the morning or just during the day. So we have our array called fruits, and then we have the elements banana, apple, and orange. So I want us to remove the last element of the array, of this array called fruits, that is orange. So how do we do it? We use the name of the array, which is fruits, and then dot pop. And then when you console the log, we expect 2 elements to be output, that is banana and the apple. Orange, which is the last element of this array fruits, is going to be removed because we've now like used pop, which is a method to remove the last element of the array. So let us just do the example again. So with me, let me just remove there's no problem. I can just do this. So with this example, I have, sorry. This example, we have apple, orange, and banana. So I want us to remove the last element of this array, that is banana. So we are going to use the name of the array, that is fruits, then dot pop. Let me save. So when we console.log the elements of this array, that is fruits, we expect apple and orange to only be output. So let us have a look at it. I don't know if that is clear or visible to everyone. So as you can see, upper for console, the output we have apple and orange only. So that is the key thing to keep up, to remember about pop, to remove the last element from an array. And then push is to add an element at the end of an array. Yeah. So I hope that is clear, the difference between push and pop. Okay. Then we move to the next method, array method, that is unshift. What have we said about push? Push is used to add an element at the end of the array. But now when you come to unshift, it is used to add an element as well, but where? At the beginning of an array. So if I have a mango, I have my array called fruits, which has the elements banana, apple, and orange. And then I want to add mango at the beginning of this array, that is before banana, right? So which array method am I going to use? I'm going to use unshift. But when I want to add this mango at the end of the array, that is after orange, I'm going to use push. So that is the difference between push and shift. So unshift is used to add an element at the beginning of an array. So when you console.log this one, we expect mango to appear before the rest of the elements of the array. Let's do that too. So so what I'm going to do here is how do we do that? We just have the name of the array as well, that is fruits, and then dot and shift. Then inside the brackets, you can give the fruit that you want to do, that in mango. So what do we expect? We expect mango to appear before the rest of these elements of this array called fruits. So we are expecting mango, apple, orange, and banana. So let us run and see. So sorry. So as you all can see, as you all can see, the first element of the array is now mango, because unshift adds the element at the beginning of the array. So I think that is what you also have to remember here, the difference between unshift and push. Unshift is at the beginning, but then push is at the end of an array. Okay, let us continue. So we move on to shift. So there's unshift and then there's shift. So shift method removes the first element from an array. For example, we have the same array of fruits. I'm just going to use fruits today. So we have our array called fruits, which has the elements banana, apple, and orange. Then I want to remove the first element of the array, which is the first element of this array, banana. So how do I do that? I use the shift method. So when you say fruits.shift, we expect the output of this to be apple and orange, because now the banana, which is the first element of this array fruits, is going to be removed. Yeah. So there is shift and then there is pop. Pop is whereby it allows you to remove the last element of an array, but shift allows you to remove the first element of an array. So we have our array fruits, which has apple, orange, and banana. So I want us to remove the first element of this array, which is apple. So we'll just use the name of the array, which is fruits, then dot shift, yeah, dot shift. And then let me save. And then when we run, this is the output. We have orange and banana because now the first element apple has been removed by the array method shift. So I hope that is like all of us have understood the difference between unshift and shift, pop and push. So we move on to the next array method. Uh, the next thing here on my on this page is array length. What is meant by array length? When somebody tells you find the length of this array, the length of an element, what we'll be referring here is the number of the elements in an array. For example, in this array called fruits, we have how many elements? We have banana 1, we have apple 2, we have orange 3, right? So when we uh, when we check the length of this array fruits, the output we expect is 3. Why? Because that is the number of the elements in this array. So anytime you want to, maybe because you are not gonna work with a small number of array elements every now and then. Sometimes maybe you will have a huge number as much as like 30 things, 30 elements you've stored in a single array, in an array, I mean. So how do you like count and know the number of these elements without like going and then counting each and every one of them one by one? So how you will know is now by using the array length. So how do you do that? The length method. So just use the name of the array, which is fruits, then dot length. So let us do an example here. So I have my I just want to add elements here. Maybe I can add pineapple. Yeah. So I want us to find the number of the elements that this array fruits us. So how do we do that? We use fruits.length. Let me just do this directly here. Fruits.length. Instead of typing console.log times 2. So how do you like find out the number of the elements in that array? So what you will do is just fruits length. You console the log fruits length. So how many elements are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and so we have to. I hope we all can see this one. 5. Yeah. So that is how we find that is how we find the number of elements in an array. So with array length, we move to what happens when we have that we want to join. For example, maybe I have an array of fruits that is banana, apple, and orange, and then I have another array called colors, which I have stored the elements red, white, and green. What happens if I want to join two these two arrays? So we use the array method concatenation. So concat allows us to join two or more arrays and returns a result. So for example, here we have the array of fruits and then the elements, and then we have another array called colors with its elements white and green. And then I have an array called combination, but in this array called com, which is a short form of combination, I want to join the first array, the fruits array and the colors array. So how do I do that? I do the name of the array, that is fruits.concat. Then inside, what am I joining? I'm joining fruits and colors. So this is the syntax of unique and the other. And concat, join with colors. Join fruits with colors. So in between, you are supposed to have the you put in the array to join with the other. So let us do so. Let us give an example of that. So we already have. I just want to reduce the ends here so that it can be visible to us. So I want to create another element, another array. Sorry, I want to create another array called colors. So in this array called colors, I'm going to store blue. I'm going to store orange. So I want to join the two arrays, that is the fruits and colors. So let me create another array called combination. So this is what I'm going to do. I take the array which I want to first use to join. I want to use, that is the fruits, then dot concat. Concat, and then inside the brackets, I give the name of the second array which I want to join, that is colors. So let us console.log. So when you console.log the elements of combination, I'm expecting to have all the elements of the first of the array, that is fruits, and then all the elements of color, that is now all of them combined. So let me save this. Let me comment this one. Sorry. What did I just do? Oh, it's equal sour. So when I output, what do we expect? So as you all can see here, we have apple, orange, banana, red, blue, and orange. So apple, orange, and banana, these were the elements of the first array fruits. And then red, blue, and orange were the elements of the array colors. And using the array method concat, we have joined the two arrays, that is the fruits and the colors. And as you can see, we have all the elements here. Yeah. So let us move on to the next thing here. The next array method I want us to see is slice. selects the part of an array and returns the new array. So from the word slice, kukata. So for example, I've talked about indexing. Indexing starts from 0 to, like from 0 and not 1, like 0 to whatever the number that of the array elements that you have. So we have the red, which its index is 0, then white, the index of white is 1, and then the index of green is 3. So when we use the array method slice, and then we will slice from index 0. So when you slice, for example, here, let me, I've sliced, what do we call it? 1, index 1. So that is where it pick from hapo, then kuendelea, like it picks from that index that you've indicated. Is it 1? Is it 0? I don't want to use 0 because now we'll just have all of the elements. So console.log colors.slice, which index, from wapi? That is from 1, 0, 1, 2. So which element has its index as 1? That is white. So when we use colors.slice, we are going to select part of the array and return a new array. So we are going to select from index 1, that is white, and then green, that is the rest of the array elements. So when you use slice, we select from the one that you've indicated. Is it index 1? Is it index 2? Is it index 3? So let us do an example to better understand this. So let me just let me create an array. Let me this time use colors. We have red, and then we have white. Those are the colors of Kenya's flag, I guess, if I still remember. And then I want us to slice from index 2. So I want to console output console log colors, but from where? Colors dot, I want to slice from index 2. So what do we expect? We expect, I'm not going to give you the answer this time. Anyone to tell us the expected output when you slice? Oh, sorry. Anyone? The expected output? Just unmute and then you can tell us. We're still in a meeting. Anyone to unmute and then tell us the expected output kindly? Okay, I can see somebody has typed qua chat red and white. Okay, great. So the expected output here is red and white, because once we slice, let us do the indexing of these elements. Blue is index 1, red is index, no, blue is index 0, green is index 1, red is index 2. So slicing from we are like selecting from index 2, that is red and white. So let me run this and then let us look at the output here. Sorry, I'm having an error. Once the colors, consult, log. Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. So this is the output that is red and white. So it has been selected from um, index, the second index that is red and then white. So I hope that is clear for everyone. So let us continue to the next. So those are the array methods that I selected for us, because we have so much more array methods, and we're not going to look at them today, all of them, because I'm supposed to introduce the concept of objects as well. So I'll give you an assignment, and then I will be there in the group to answer any question concerning the same. I'll also give you you have this blog. I'll send you the link. So when you click at check out the JavaScript array methods, you'll find more array methods that you can look at and work with. But I'll give you an assignment before today ends that you can work with. Yeah. So those are the things I'm gonna look at today for arrays and array methods. But when we move on to ECMAScript, that is year 6 concepts, we are going to look at more array methods and more concepts about arrays as we journey and as we continue. So I hope we've all understood how we create an array, how we can access an array element, and then we've differentiated the difference between push and pop, shift and shift. We've looked at how do we determine the number of elements in an array, and then how do we join two arrays? That is, when we have two arrays, how do we join? By using the concat array method, and then how does the slice array method work? So those are the few array methods that I've chosen, and I hope at least anyone or somebody has maybe gained something on arrays in JavaScript. So we're going to kindly type questions, any question on any questions on arrays, kindly type on the chat. I can see then we answer some of them. So yeah, you can type them on the chat. We have Dennis, we have David, and we have Kimboy. They will be helping me to answer them. And then in the end, if we have any unanswered question, I'll take you through those unanswered questions. So we are going to move on to the next concept that is, so let me do this. Can share the link. So just let me fix my network. Okay, thank you for your time for waiting. So let us look at the next concept concept objects in JavaScript. I just want somebody to tell me the data types that we have in JavaScript. Yeah, name the data types we have in JavaScript. Just somebody can unmute. Just data types in JavaScript. Just randomly, let's just have people naming them randomly. Just unmute. Strings. We have strings. Okay. Yes, because I can't like hear most of you. I don't know. I think the speaker of my laptop is so low. So I'll just continue. So we have two types of data types. We have the primitive data types, and then we have the non-primitive data types. So I'm not going to give you the difference between primitive and non-primitive. Somebody to type the difference between primitive and non-primitive data types for chat section, in the chat section kindly. So as somebody tells us, Amma types the types of, somebody to type the data types in JavaScript in the chat section, and somebody to tell us the difference between primitive data types and non-primitive data types in the chat section as well. So objects in JavaScript. JavaScript object is one of the data types we have in JavaScript. So I've given you one, that is the objects, which we are looking at today. So JavaScript object is one of the data types that we have in JavaScript, and it is the only non-primitive data type that allows us to store multiple collection of data. For example, I have a student, and this student has like several information about him or her. Maybe we have the first name, we have the age, that is the property. Maybe this student has like several properties. We have the age, the first name, the last name. Maybe we have if the course, we have the class. Yeah. So objects allows us to store this multiple collection of data or information about something. For example, here we have student. So student, we can have the first name of a student, we can have the age, we can have the last name, we can have the color of his or her eyes, that is. Yeah. So objects allows us to store multiple collections of data of the same. So how do we declare objects in JavaScript? So we declare objects in JavaScript by using using the word const or let, yeah, and then the object name. For example, here we have the object name as student. By using const, yeah, I'll use const. So after you use const, we have the object name, which is the student, and then we have the curly brackets. Inside the curly brackets, this is where you put the properties of, that is the data that about that object that you want to that you have in mind, whether it's student, whether it's anything. So inside the curly brackets, this is where you store the information about that thing. And then inside the curly brackets, we have a key and a value. For example, if it's the first name of a student, then we have the value, that the first name. Is it Charity? Is it Joy? Is it Mercy? Is it Joanne? So the key inside the curly brackets, am inside here, we call them, is it property? Yeah, we call them property. We have a key, a property key, and we have a property value. So the property key here in this example is name. Another property key is the age. And then the values of these keys, we have the name of the student as Ruby, and then we have the age of this student as 21. So this is how we declare, this is how we create an object. We use the object name, and then inside the curly brackets, this is where we put the properties. That is by using the property key and by using the property value. Let us continue. Let me explain something on JavaScript object properties. I think I have already, but let us just redo. In JavaScript, key value, that is the property key and the value pairs, are called properties. So the key, for example, here in an object called person, we have the property key as name and the age. And then the property values, we have 20 and John, which is the property value of the property key name. So I hope that is clear what we mean by object properties. These are the properties, I call them, is it the data of that object? Yeah. So an object as properties. I mean, the properties, we have the property key and the property value. So we've now understood how we create objects in JavaScript. So let us see how we can access the object properties in JavaScript. So what happens when I want to access the name of this person? What happens when I want to access the age of this person? How do I do so? Accessing object properties. You can access the value of a property by using its key. This is where now you have to remember the difference between a property key and a property value. So you can access, that is the property values. Is it John 20? That is the property value by using their keys. That is the name, age. So how? We have two ways. We have the dot notation, and here is the syntax of using the dot notation. You just simply use the name of the object. Is it person, then dot the key, the key that you want to, the name of the key that you want to the name of the value, that is, no, the name of the key that you want to like access its value. Let me just use an example there, using terminologies to explain something is hard. So for example, I have an object called student, and this student has a name, this student has age of 21. The name is Ruby. So what do I do when I want to access the name of this person, of this student? So I use the object name, the dot notation, the name of the object, that is student, then dot the name of that, like dot the key, that is the name, and in turn it will give me the value, the value of that property, the value of that property key. So if I want to access the name of this student, you just use the name of the object dot the key, the property key. Is it the age? You use student dot age. So I just want us to use an example to better understand Amandio flow. I just want to create another. So let us, how do we create an object? So let us create an object called, let us use student bundle. they're like students. Let us use students, and then we have the curly brackets. Inside the curly brackets, this is where we put the property key and the property values. So this student has the first name. The first name as, let us give Ruby. I love the name Ruby. Then we have the last name of this person as maybe Joy. And then we have the age of this person. Let us give her 20. Yeah. So let us use the 3 key values. So what happens when I want to access a specific, like I want to access the first name of this student only. I want to access the last name of this student only. So we use the dot notation. So console.log the name of the object, which is student dot, what do I want to access? I want to access the first name. So as you can see, the output is Ruby. Why? Because that is the first name of this student. When you want to access the last name, when we run, we can see the last name of this person is Joy. When you want to access the age of this person, what do? You just use the name of the object, then age, I'm sorry, student.age. So we all can see here when I try to run, sorry, can you get me water? We can see we have 20. We have 20, and then so this is how we create an object, and then this is how we can access the elements of this object under this object. When we want to access all the elements of this object, we just use the name of the object. So let us see what happens. So upper to corner, like here we have now the first name, which is Ruby, the last name, which is Joy, the age, which is 20. So this happens when you want to access everything about this object. But when you want to access a specific, is it information, like for example, the first name, the last name, or the age, this is where you specify using the dot notation. So let us continue. We have the bracket notation. And this is the syntax of accessing the object elements using the bracket notation. We have the object name and then the property name. For example, we have an array called, not an array, we have an object called person, and then this person has a name and an age. We want to access the name of this person using the bracket notation. So you console.log person, and then inside the square brackets, you now indicate what do you want to access. That is the property key of that you want to access. That is the name. So you use the name of the object, that is person, and then inside the square brackets, you now indicate what do I want to access, the name. So the output will be John. So we can access the properties of an object using the dot notation and using the bracket notation. So let us move on to nested objects. In nested objects, what do I mean by the word nested? From the word nested, we mean like an object can contain another object. So for example, here we have a student. This student is an object, our first object. But this student can contain another object. And how do we do that? So we have our object called student, which has the properties of the property keys, which are the name, which has a name, which has an age, and which has the marks. Those are the property keys for the student. But now, when we come to marks, we have more information about marks. Marks will be our next object with the data, science, math, social studies, we have CRE, wherever, and their property values of the marks for science, the marks for math, the marks for CRE, the marks for computer. So we have JavaScript nested objects, and what we mean is an object can contain another object. And how do we create that? So when you let us have our first, we can do that. Let me do this using, let me do this here. So I have my student with the first name, with the last name, and with the age. And then this student also must have marks. But marks, in marks, we have like several, we have the marks for several subjects. Like marks has, we have marks for maybe several subjects, maybe science, we have CRE, computer, and more. So how do we do that? So marks becomes our next object, which is stored under student object. So in marks, we introduce the curly brackets, and then inside these curly brackets, we now put in the information, that is the properties of these marks. We have maybe computer maybe this person scored 30, and then we have CRE, maybe this student scored 20, and then we have maths, maybe this person scored 90. So this is how we create nested objects. We have our first object, student, and then inside student, we have marks, which becomes our second object with the properties, computer, CRE, and maths, respectively, with their values. So this is how we create nested objects in JavaScript. So the next thing is, how do we access the properties of the student? How do we access, for example, I want to access the marks, but for a specific subject, maybe science, maybe math, maybe, yeah. Because for student, if I want to access the name, I just say student dot name. The marks, the age student dot age, the marks student dot marks. So I want us to look at, because we now know how we can access the name and the age. How do we access the information of the nested object, the object inside the bigger object? So I want us to go and console. Sorry. So I want us to go and I want us to go and output the information of the marks, output the properties of the marks, and then we output a specific, is it science, is it computer, for that object marks. So accessing the properties we use, let us console.log. Then I want us to access the marks first. Sorry, it's suppose we start with students. Dot marks. Let us see what happens. Student.marks. This is the output. Marks, the properties of the object marks, we have computer, which is 30, CRE 20, maths, which is 90. But now what happens when I want to access a specific subject, the marks of a specific subject, for example, computer, CRE, maths. So let us access the marks of maths. So what you will do is you just use the name of the object, that is student, then dot marks, then dot the specific thing that you want to access. For example, mathematics, that is maths. Let me save and run again. So we will have 20. Oh, 90, I mean. So for maths, this student had the marks 90. So this is what happens. So when you want to access the specific, you start by the name of the object, then dot, what are you accessing in that student? The marks. But in that marks, we are accessing the marks of the subject, mathematics, maths. Yeah. So I hope that is clear. So we move on to the next thing. That is the JavaScript object methods. Any question? Let me just catch up with everyone first. Zenimo, kindly share the resource link. Okay, do so before I can continue. So that is for the objects. I'll share for the arrays later on. And then okay, so I hope, sorry, I didn't say that earlier, but we can continue to the JavaScript object methods. Any question, kindly type in the chat section, and then we'll help you answer that. So we have the JavaScript object methods. So the first thing in JavaScript, an object can also contain a function. So what I'll look at today is I just want us to look at to understand an object can also contain a function. Last week, or yeah, the first session, David introduced on functions. How do we declare a function? And then last week, the last session, Kimboy, Brian went through deeper on the same, that is the functions. And so today I want us to understand how do we use a function. I want us to understand that an object can also contain a function in it. So for example, let me just use an example for us to understand. For example, we have this object called person, and this person has a name and this person has an age. And then I want to ask to introduce this concept. This object can also contain a function, and this function greet, and then we can do whatever we want to. Like it's a method, it's an operation that maybe will be performing a specific a certain function, a certain task. So this is how you do it. The key is it the name, that is, for example, here it's greet, and then we have our function which is anonymous, and then inside the curly brackets we have console.log, whatever you want to output. So if you really remember, if you really understood how we create a function, so I know this isn't weird for you, this isn't looking so much hard for you. So let us try, let me just explain it well first. So here we have the function greet. A function is used as a value for the greet key. Definitely here, create is acting as the property key for this object, the property key. And then it's the value of this property key is now the function. This function is anonymous, like it doesn't have a name. So go and look at the difference between anonymous functions and yeah. So that is why we need to use person.greet. In functions, we have to declare or create a function, and then there's calling a function, and then calling a function or invoking a function. So what happens here is we have the create, which is our property key, and what does it have? It has a function that outputs the message hello, right? But then for us to output this information, to output the that is the property greet, the information of greet, we have to call the function. So that is why we have greet with greet person.greet, person, which is the name of the object, then dot greet, which is the property key, and we have to have the brackets because we have to call the function for us to like output, that is hello. So I just want us to use an example, and then we see what happens. I guess we'll understand it more. I want us to create an object called person. Sorry for that, my closed immediately. So we have person. This person, as it is, let us give him what is not happening in this PC. This one has a name, let's give the name Ruby as well. And then the age, so that is 20. Then you have, let us create a function called let us create a property key called message. And inside this message, you want to have a function that outputs the message, how are you, like, yeah, what's up. So let us create a function. In this function, I want us to console.log the message we are landing. Yeah. So this is how we create a function inside an object. So how do we, like, when we want to access that, we want to random access that that specific key that has a function. So we just use the name of the sorry, some water. Ndamwaga. The name of the object, that is person, then dot grid. Then you have to use the brackets because it's a function. It's an error because I have to console.log, right? Mbona kuna error? Tell me why we have an error here. Doing person. Oh, I think we have another name. Sorry. You guys are not telling me the name. I didn't use greet, I used message. So we are supposed to use person dot message. Sorry. So the output is the message that is we are learning, because that function is supposed to output the message we are learning. So you have to use, that is the object, that the object name that you've used, then dot the property key that you have used. So we were getting an error because my mind was still using greet, which we were explaining. We were explaining in the blog section, but here I've used the property key message. So you have to use the name of the object, that is person, then dot message, then the brackets, because this is a function, and for function, for you to access something, you have to call the function, you have to invoke the function. So that is it with object methods. And then that is where I'm going to stop today. Yeah, time is far much gone. Yeah, so this is basically what we mean by objects in JavaScript, what we mean by nested objects. Nested objects, that is an object inside another object. Yeah, and how do we access by using the dot notation. And then there is more, but we're going to look at other concepts about, because there's really a lot of other methods that are so much important that we have to look at for both the arrays and for both the objects. So today we were just like doing the introduction part of it for us to know what is an array, for us to know what is an object, for us to know the syntax. How do we create an object? How do we create an array? How do we like access the elements of an array? How do we access the properties of an object? So I hope today everyone has understood uh, arrays, the basic information, the basic concepts of arrays and objects in JavaScript. How do we do so in JavaScript? Yeah. So in arrays, we've looked at some of the array methods. There is basically way more. Somebody shared a presentation that is a PPT in the WhatsApp group containing, I guess, more than 20 array methods. So I want us to, all of us, let us go and look at those array methods. Let us try to work with them. Let us do more practice. I'll send you the assignment before today ends. Yeah, in WhatsApp, and then anything, any question, we will be there. That is David, Dennis, I, and Brian who will answer you. So that is basically what I have for all of us today on objects and arrays. I hope somebody has learned something. I'll share with you the links for this right now again. So anyone to, I'll just maybe I give maybe I can give who do I give? Let me give it to David. You can take over maybe. If anyone has a question, and if anyone has,
Hello,
I
thank
can
you,
see
Charity.
Charlie. Yeah.
Thank you, Charity, for the event. We have really learned a lot, especially on my side. So I hope that the rest of the participants have also learned. So today I didn't have much to say. So maybe Brian can say hi and maybe tell us something.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this session. We've learned a lot, and maybe to say thanks to Charity because you've taken us through step by step on how maybe to understand the maybe also objects. So what I can say is the announcement that I have is the next is an event that we have next week. So we always have events every Friday. So I've sent the links to register and also the links for the event. So you can start by registering for the event as early as now, so that you can be updated once the event starts next week. So also to mention that we also have a WhatsApp group. So I've also shared the link to the WhatsApp group, so you can always join the group for more updates from us, and maybe you can even get to ask questions individually. So we will always respond to your questions. So also maybe to mention that let's not break the WhatsApp group rules, because maybe some other people might try to maybe do their own business or so. So let's try and maybe make the group serve its own purpose. And maybe at last, maybe to say my appreciation for all of us who have joined us since the beginning of the sessions until this point. It has been one of the best sessions. So next week will be taken through by Dennis Kaduri. So he'll be on our instructor next week. So we shall update you on the topics that we shall be having. And yeah, that's what that's what we shall be doing. So thank you so much. If Dennis is around, I think I can pass this opportunity to him before we end the session.
Yeah, I'm around, Brian.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for attending today's meeting. And one thing I have is like I'll be sharing the link, a form on the chat to make sure to read it is for the purpose of certificate issuings. So if we are about 20 of them, so I should expect like 18 to 20 responses from others. So the purposes of this form is to track the attendees and also designing the certificate. So make sure to view it. That's all I have for today. Let's meet next week as we go deeper in JavaScript.
Yeah, now I think we can give Charity maybe to end the session, or maybe if there's someone have a question, yeah, be free to ask.
So for me, I think I don't have much to say. Just to thank everyone for your time to just thank everyone for your time, and I really hope we all have learned something. Any questions? Kindly let's catch up in WhatsApp, because I think I have a session starting right now. So I just want to, I'll send you the assignments, and then any question, if you're not in WhatsApp, kindly feel free to reach out right now to, you can just like text or reach out to any one of us that you are not in the WhatsApp group, fill out the form, yeah, and then yeah, I'll catch up in the WhatsApp with the assignments and everything. Any question I'll answer, and then I'll also share the resources on the same, and I'll also share more on objects and arrays throughout this week before we come to the next session on Friday. It
Okay.
was amazing to have all of you. So thank you so much, everyone. Somebody saying next Friday is on a holiday. Do we have a class, a session? Yes, because it will be in the evening, uh, just for the almost 2 hours. So I think we can all sacrifice the 2 hours, because this is a series and we have to complete this, because the more like we push it to another week, the more we are delaying this. So it's good when we like continue with learning. Maybe next week we add up something to whatever we've planned this week. So yes, we will have a class next week that is in the same time, the same venue, that is on Teams. So thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, feel free to leave.
Hello everyone, thanks for attending today's event. It was an informative one. Ensure to attend next week's event. It will also be an informative one. Kindly, even if there's a